So, hello everybody. I'm here with Wolfgang Geramb, who's just arrived in Munich tonight and is going to be speaking to us about how do you sell your business without selling your soul, which I just think is such an important topic that not enough people think about. Not enough people think about the possibility of actually selling their business at one point at all. And then if they do, I think probably feel completely overwhelmed with how to do it. So, Wolfgang, welcome. Thanks for being here.
Thank you so much. And yeah, I'm really excited because when I started my business, right, and I never thought about selling.
Mm.
I just started off. Actually, I started off about like the things I love. I started as a graphic designer. I wanted to do really cool ass projects and not working for agencies anymore, like doing my own thing. And so it was all about the content and the projects, and this was really more important than anything else.
Mm.
How
Yeah.
was it with you? Like, how did you start, right?
Yeah, it was same thing. I just had friends who were terrible at marketing and needed help, and I had something to say, so I just started just like that, started leading some workshops, and one thing led to another, and 20 years later, here I am.
Yeah, that's cool.
So,
And
mhm.
yeah, like this is interesting. As a marketing people, I look at the screen and it looks like so shitty from the colors. And it's like, maybe this is better like this. So we
That's
match
better.
better.
That's
Yeah,
better.
yeah. So I think there is something weird. And yeah, and like in the first 2 years, how many days could you take off?
Well, I'm a lazy hippie, and so I probably took a lot of days off, but I didn't. I wasn't hustling so hard. I mean, but I probably worked most of the days, I would think. There were some summers I took a lot of time off for festivals, but yeah, I never. So funny. I'm very type A, uh, I think, but I have taken time off when I've needed it, I think.
Hmm. Yeah, that's
And
good. And what do you assume, like in the first, like how many days were you really like off?
not a lot, probably not a ton. In
10?
the, oh man, yeah, maybe 10 or 20. Yeah.
10 or 20?
It really depends. There was one summer where I barely worked. I was broke by the end of the summer.
Good.
But yeah, the first few years, certainly I was touring a lot. There was just every day there was something to do. So,
Yeah, and I think that's when I look back from, especially in the first years, but I like when I remember like this going to vacation with my family, and my father, he got older. He invited us to this trip and to Austria, and it was this beautiful little cabin with my boys and my wife, and I was physically there,
right.
but mentally there was always this like I just like was hiding. I was going behind the cabin, checking if I got the reception,
Yeah.
and just like or saying I'd take a walk to check my email because I was too embarrassed to say like be also as a good example for my family and say that. But basically, I couldn't calm down because things. I was so scared things could have happened,
Sure.
and I was calling to. There, I had like already like two employees, like one freelancer, one person. So I wanted to make sure everything was good. They are happy. I was worrying more about them than me and my family, right?
Right.
Hi, Michael. Oh, perfectly. You're joining on a perfect moment because we're talking about holidays.
So you, so it was hard for you to take a break in the beginning from your business.
Yeah.
And
And yeah.
what changed eventually, or how did you ever get out of that? How did you get out of that?
Yeah, I think that was the point. Like first about saying acknowledge this, but I still really did. It took a long time to acknowledge that I taking time off. And also, there's a good question. is what do you do with the time off?
Mm.
I mean, this vacation, it was really easy because I was spending time with my family. I was spending time with my family. And, but then it also means spending time with my family. And I wasn't so used to that anymore because I was working all the time. So by that, by being busy, there is also, there's this being with the family, but on the other hand is I don't need to be with the family. It sounds a little weird, but because there is this wish to speak them, but if I'm not used anymore because I worked so much, I don't know what to do with them. And also like work is such a comfort zone because, you know, we know what it is, how it works. We work doing this and that. It's simple, it's challenging, but it's simple. It's like puzzling. But with your family, it's quite demanding. And the little boys, they were cute for 2 hours and then they're like, wow, a lot of demands. And like, gee, and my father was also like, I was also happy to escape here and there. So how about you, Michael? So when you think about your holidays as a self-employed man, how many days can you take off now and during your years?
I haven't taken off in the last 2 years.
Wow.
Yeah. And that's what I'm working on right now. And part of it is Tad's got a number of checklists that we really itemize. What are the steps? What are the things that we do on a daily, weekly, monthly basis? And package that so I can have someone else do it.
Yeah. And I think that's a really, really great thing about packaging thing. And I think it starts with one thing is how do you clone yourself, right? But I think it's the other thing is making sure that you have an idea what you want to do with this time for yourself. Yes, I would like to play the guitar. Great. Do I really want it or not? Or is it not? So having an idea, if I would get 1 day off, what would I do with that? If I have an idea what I want to do with that and not just say, oh, it would be great if 1 year, you feel it life completely different. You will find, because we know that there's this band coming to your town or a friend drops by from another city and he crashes into your day. Suddenly you make time. If the client calls you, oh, we have to do this by Monday, you make time to work your ass off on the weekend if it's decent, or to pay off taxes or whatever. So we are capable of making time. We are entrepreneurs. We invent everything we like. So we are time creators. So if we know what we want to do with the time, and this is what I forgot. And this is where I discovered this really late, to discover what do I want to do with my time. And I found this out the hard way because I was chasing the dream of building a design agency, which was not just successful and relevant and serving great people. And I got more and more employees from 1 to, and I had 40 employees. And then there was this one day where I go skip to that, where I got the opportunity to sell. And I sold my business and I had everything what most people are dreaming of, because I think like, how many people are selling their business? How many creative people are selling their business? Less than 1%. Maybe it's 1% of 1%. It's really like so rare. So I got this and I was out there having all the resources, like all the time and money I could have more than I ever could have dreamed of. And I came home to my family and there was my son sitting and saying like, oh, Dad, you're home. Well, you're 1.5 years early. I thought you need to stay one more in this company. No. And I said, I'm back. I'm home. I said, you're great, but we got a life. And you haven't been here for 10 years, not really. And I got to go to school. I got friends. And my wife said like, yeah, I got a job and my horse. And I'm like, great. And I had no clue what to do with my time. I had no idea. I went back to school. I went studying. I started startups. I did a lot of things. And I realized last year, I found out, explored so much what I want and how can I make use of this most valuable asset where we always talk about, everybody knows time, but I didn't know what to do with it.
Yeah.
And this changed my life completely.
So I'm hearing that there's two things that are important here. One is the sort of technicalities of knowing how to go about selling your business. And second is knowing what do you want to do with your time, if and when you sell it. So let's focus on that first one for a moment. First of all, why would somebody want to sell their business? And I mean, so why would somebody want to? Well, let's start with that. That's probably a good place.
Yeah, why do you want to sell your business? So I work today with a lot of, so I can say why I sold my business. Start with that.
Yeah.
I had 40 employees. I did every job in my company I did myself. I was a designer and hired a designer. And 1 year later, he quit. And he said, like, David, why are you quitting? Because I don't want to finish your design. I'm a designer myself.
Mm.
And the second thing is, if you can do it, I can do it too. And I was like, interesting. So I was hiring new designers. They were not so junior, but more experienced. And I said, you are going to be the designers and I'm going to be the concept guy. Cool. Until we needed a concept guy. Then he said, why a year? I became the strategist until I hired this girl from Finland, amazing strategist. And I saw it in her face like, yeah, I know you wonder why I'm still doing strategy, because why are you here? Okay, so she became the strategist and moved on to become a general manager, and until I hired a general manager. And then I went into vacations. I think I remember the first day when he arrived, and he said like, "Oh, it's so great that you come." And my dream is the next year I want to take a vacation. And I want to go away as long as until I get bored. How long is that? I said, I don't know. But it's 3 or 4 weeks. I don't know. I can't remember to be bored. It's when busyness stopped. And so I did this every year, and I figured out I get bored on the 18th to 21st day. First 4 days, we always travel with the family, take our van and just like travel just to different regions of Europe. And the first 2 days are extremely crazy. Like I want to do everything on the same time with everything. Like the first days are super packed. Then this family said like, we want to chill, and I said, okay, let's chill. And after 18 to 21 days, there's this day of boredomness. This is when I hate myself. I don't know what to do with myself. I cannot sit. I cannot read. I don't want to see anything. I don't want to do anything. And this is after that. This is when relaxation starts. This is when I get to know a new me. This is the amazingness. And so I was always traveling for about let's say 4 to 5 weeks. And after a couple of years, I think it was there 4 years, I came back from another vacation. This time it was France. I came back, relaxed, passed my boredom day. And so he said oh, great that you're back, Wolfgang. I said, Matthias, yeah, what happened? Yeah, we have, the team and me, we have one wish. What is the wish? Don't touch anything. Great that you're back, don't touch anything. Let the team work. Okay, let us work. I said, interesting. And this is the moment 2 feelings came up. The creative felt useless. The entrepreneur felt success. I made it. I built a business that could thrive without me. I was questioning, that's not true. And so I did an internship in my own company. And I was checking and you know what? They were all happy. The team was happy. We were making cash. Clients were happy. It's just they got it all. They didn't need me anymore. So, and then, the funny thing is 2 weeks later, the phone rang and a guy said, you you build a fantastic business. Don't you want to sell it? Let's meet down. Before, no one ever called me. In this year, 5 people. So I was the first, so I stepped to a new role of the seller. And so why do people sell? Today, I work a lot with exitpreneurs. This is how I call them, people who dream to exit their business. Selling is one option, but taking more longer-term vacations is another thing. It's like, or it's not about selling. It could also be finding a new role, but how do you exit with that? But they start off always, I want to exit my business. And most of them are between 40 and 60. And they're all like 10, 20 years in their business. I'm bored. I don't want to hear I'm bored of the hamster wheel of always keep repeating. There was this one coach, he built a coaching business. He said, you know what? I love coaching, but it's the only thing I'm not allowed to do in my company. I have to do the boring stuff. And even my employees don't want to be coached by me anymore. So I want to go back to coaching. I feel that it's like hiring, firing, training people. It's just like, it's so boring. And a lot of them looking for working again on like feeling a sense of meaning, feeling a sense of excitement, of challenge, of a new adventure. Something that's why they are advising startups and that, because, but it's not their business. It's just their energy. So they can and then they become consultants on the side, but they're standing on the sideline. They're not on the field. They want to be on the field again and feel, and the field like with double E, like really feeling it. That's the point. And they feel, it's like the last exit Brooklyn. It's the last exit. If I don't do it now, will I have the courage, the strength, the stamina, and all of that to redo it like in 10 years? I'm not sure if I can do it with 60. Yeah. But I know I can do it now. But I'm so stuck in my, they don't say comfort zone, but and everything is so comfortable. The loans are being paid. There's the wife has, and the kids are taken care of, or the partner, like everything, it works. So moving is kind of.
So what do you think needs to be in place before an entrepreneur sells their business, if they're going to sell it, or if they're going to, start taking a lot of vacations? Let's say you met with somebody and they say, hey, could you take a look at my business? I don't even know if I'm ready to sell. Like, what would you be looking for to see if they were ready?
I would take 3 keys. Is your business lovable, leavable, and valuable? Lovable, leavable, and valuable. So I can explore, go on that. So if we talk lovable, do you have you build something you care about, but do other people really care about? Are you sure your clients care about it? I mean, basically, this is your business, is marketing, making sure, is there something other care about? And building this connection. But is it really that way that it is a lovable business? And from the client side, but also from the team side, would they care if you would not be there? Do they care about the topic so much? They're like, yeah, you know what? I think it's fantastic what we're building here. And we see this in bigger brands. People want to work for brands. They don't know who the CEO is, right? But as an entrepreneurial business, people, most times they follow us. Like Michael is a cool guy. I want to work with him, right? Or Ted or Wolfgang, or it's Stephanie or Catherine or like whoever, right? Usually we are people loud, like quiet, or however we are. We are people like to join us because we take care of them. We take care of the clients. It's us. And so this is what I also mean with don't sell your company, sell your company, not your soul. It is what makes it lovable. And so it's putting down the ego and seeing what is there that others can love. Is there something besides of me? That's it. I think it's a scary question, because making yourself replaceable leads to leavable. Let's assume that everybody loves it. You find a way of marketing the business, you found the people in the team, you love it, or it's just, this is working. Do you build your business so you can leave? And the question is, who do you hire first? Do you take, let's assume you hire a finance guy or girl. How many days of vacations would you get extra? How many days would you get extra per month? Someone who, of course, you trust. Someone who does the books, makes the invoices, looks at if the numbers and liquidity is right, and tells the others, you know what? Sales need to go up a little bit. You know what? I see it's great. The courses are stuffed now, but not in 3 months. The ping, right? So that the other can play the pong. How many days would you get off? And when you hire that, if you would, what is you love the most in the business? What do you love most in your business? Is it talking to the clients? Is it some nitty-gritty stuff? Is it the big words? Is it the vision? Usually, most of us are still involved in operations and I love coaching people, right? I love that. This is the first thing I need to let go. If I find a replacement for myself who gives away the part what I love the most, this is when the company becomes leavable. I know it's the hardest. This is the only thing we don't want to get rid of. That's why I'm so provocative on this. Because the question is, why did we build this company? Is it an entrepreneurial playground, like kindergarten or playground, so we can do what we ever love? Then we keep doing this, but we don't bullshit ourselves and say we want to have a leavable business. No, we want to have a business where we can do what we love. But don't bullshit us in the sense of, if you want to be leavable, find someone who replaces what you love most. Okay, the good thing is when you do this, you will find new things you love, because there's so many other things. I left design. I'm a designer. Designing is what I design for my heart and life. But leaving the design to the designers, I figured out there's a lot to a design in concept. Then I found there's a lot of design in strategy. I found there's a lot of design in management. And actually there's a lot to design in selling your business. And now I found out there's a lot to design in coaching. And now I found out there's a lot of design in building a coaching business. I'm a designer, but I'm not stringed to this role. So if you want to build something that is exitable, leave the position you love and move on. I know that you don't like that.
No. I mean, I thought you were going somewhere else. I thought you were going to say, yeah, you find the position you love and you hire for everything else and you make sure you keep that role. And as soon as you say, no, that's the first one you give away, I was like, what? Oh, that's so confronting. But the truth of it is really there, right? Of course, otherwise you've got a lifestyle business, which is wonderful. But that's different than a business that you might one day sell or step into a role where functionally you're not as involved directly anymore. I could just feel it's like a real rite of passage. It's a real initiatory moment. It's a real when you face that moment, it's just, well, are you serious about having a leavable business? Because if you are, then you need to find somebody else to do this job. And if not, it's great. But as you're saying, don't bullshit yourself that that's what you're trying to do.
And so I think that's also the difference between a business owner and an entrepreneur. The entrepreneur has a larger vision and owns multiple business, and can be multiple 3-people businesses, right? It's not necessarily big or so, but the person has, so the entrepreneur has a bigger vision and builds bits and pieces and says like, but doesn't need to. So if you say like, oh, I want to live on an island and invite people, do I have to run the hostel? Do I have to run the kitchen? Do I have do the shuttle service? Do I have to do the customer? I can build, I can build businesses, small business around that, find people, and they not do this for myself, they also do this for other islands. Because we know the area so well. And so I become an entrepreneur who drives business to a wonderful area in the world, which maybe no one was basically no one wanted to come anymore. South of Italy, there's a lot of businesses which are broke, right? Build that there with locals. You can build amazing business out of that with but build small entities and clone them. And so that's why I mean, what is the real reason why we're doing this? Or otherwise, be honest and be like it's a lifestyle business. I love the way you say it. And so, you know what? I'm a lifestyle business entrepreneur. I love what I do. And I will tell also my employee, I'm the only one who will never live this seat. I'm like, I would say architects are like that. Architects are it's my creation, it's my core idea. I think Franco Gehry, he's still like, when he makes the core idea, or the big architects, they draw the, or David Liebkin, like the architect who built the Twin Towers in New York. Yeah, they're building, making a sketch on a napkin. And then they have 50 young architects who come up with models how this could work, this craziness. But they say, you know what? I'm the architect and I will stay this for life. And you will never, if you want to build something like me, you can be my company, because now I have even 500,000 sub-architects, but I will always be on top. And I'm left, so that's me. If you want to do something on your own, go start your own business. But it's not and so I think this is this honesty about for the others, and which is totally fine.
Yeah.
You can become here a general manager, whatever, but I will always be here drawing this, the strings. And I like to, today I want to play this, and tomorrow that is my lifestyle business. Yeah.
Now, so we got lovable, we got leavable, and the third one you said is valuable.
Yeah, valuable is really interesting. And because the question, what is valuable in your company? I thought, I remember the first day when I had the first talks about my business was set with the seller, with the buyers. And we got a company presentation and so, and they logged us and okay. And interestingly, they wanted to know in the second meeting, my price. How much you want to sell? And this was like a side question. I just throw the most crazy number that came on my mind. And just throwing them. And they said, we don't think that interesting. They said, interesting. Let's meet again. We take it for today. And it was 10 times of the turnover I made, not the turnover of the revenue I made in the year. I was 10x. I just said it. I said, this would be a number I would sell. This felt good. It sounded so crazy, I could not imagine that. And I thought a little bit, but it was so I wasn't prepared for that. I've sold my business the first time, right? They bought 100 business. I wasn't prepared. And so I was asking a friend, and And he joined me for the second meeting, and he said, yeah, there's different kinds of selling. Some people buy your business because you bring them revenue. Especially like, you know, how do you call it? Like when you go like the sun screening, suntan studios, how do you call them? Yeah, like something like this. So that's a reliable business. It's not creative. Like people come out, get suntanned and go out. Like they have a predictable turnover and an income is great. Or a bakery, not a creative one. You buy that, right? There's certain regular business, local business. It's not crazy. You buy that. You can say like every year there's like 300,000 euros revenue. So you can say like, oh yeah, and so I will take out, you can say how much you can take out. It's really simple. So I thought they buy it for the revenue. And he said, no. Rarely nowadays people are buying for the revenue. Most of the time you have an asset, something which is really interesting to them, but you have to find out what they are really buying. They talk about money, but it's not about money. They pay money, but it's not about the money. And so, yeah, what else do I have? Okay, look, you're working, yeah, you're a small agency, but still you're working, you're sitting in Hamburg and you're having 40 people, international people, you're creating international people from all around the world in your team. So how did your company clients call you? They called us the local international agency. Interesting. So you turn, because I had a problem, I could not get the people in my town, they were too expensive, so I hired internationally. And so I made the disadvantage to an advantage. So now it was a local international agency, and we were serving international clients. And who did we serve? We served buyers. We had 2 Beiersdorf accounts internationally. We had Wempe, which was international jewelry. We had Wempe, international gardening company. Like they were all design and really premium, and one pharmacy company, which was also international. So, so you have access to 5 international marketing departments, which you run the core business or for them, which you don't need a lot of, but you're creating the core campaigns, which will internationally distributed. Okay, so you have a market access to 5 different industries. You have access to 5 top international brands. You have an international team of 40 people working internationally. Yeah, and you got you got some revenue. What do they buy? What else do you have? I got a really pretty office in the nicest areas of Hamburg. It's really, really hard to get. It was an old factory which we renovated, and it's beautiful. Okay, so you have an office location, one of the most hot spots in Hamburg, where the whole town wants to be, because it's this little village which is more hippie, and no one wants to be in the city center because everything is social. Because this is where the artists hang out. Because the creative people want to be there. The people from the clients asked if we can have the meeting in our place. I saved, like, I would say 50 hours a week of not driving to them. And I don't know how much cabs and buses and whatever. They came to our office. They loved our coffee machine. They loved hanging out at our place. We're like, interesting. So you have a go-to where this is also an asset. And it's like, and did you invent anything? No, we didn't invent it. Like any processes you have in place. Yeah, we have processes like how to run like really highly efficient international marketing campaigns, how a master company can roll out really fast. Oh, interesting. So we don't talk about money here. When you build an asset-built company, that's what you have to run. You look, what is the assets you can build that's valuable? And you have to understand what it is and what it is nowadays. Nowadays, I would say the most critical thing is people. let's say it's depending on your business industry, but let's say if you work in the marketing industry, no one can get business, creative people, project managers, tech guys, designers, writers. If you have 10 people in your team, you are already sellable. Do you need to do revenue? No. They just buy a team of 10 and say, great, you have it. A friend of mine, he built an app. It was a really successful app. It was for location, it was for parents when they wanted to know where their kids are, like a location. But it was built like that. When the kids arrive at the friend or at school, it made a bing, arrived. They had like about 500,000 users in Germany and 2 million users in Brazil. They've been bought by Mercedes-Benz. I would say they 10x'd. You know what they did in the first week when the team transferred? They shut down the app. They were not interested in that. They said like, you can run, or can keep it running while we don't maintain it. They had a team of 15 people, highly competent tech guys who built a better location-based service than Apple and Google. They were stuck in they were all in one city. They were all in Hamburg, where the Mercedes-Benz had their new office, and where they had the high-profile office. They knew they were a team that were working, they were young, they were thriving, they were motivated, and they were ready to go to the next step and change the mobility of the future. They were excited to go to Mercedes. This is what they bought. They bought an incredible team and a knowledge and a bit of technology which was not savable. You could not patent it, but you could make use of that. So we don't know what we are buying, but if we understand what we're good at, because most entrepreneurs are great in networking, sales somehow, and somehow make winning other people's hearts. Otherwise, it won't take off. It's simple. Because the sales, this is what you can give away the last. This is the hardest position to give away. Marketing and sales. I mean, this is Ted, you teach us, right? You teach us how to do it right. And it's the hardest part. And so, but others buy that. And that's why when you want to have a business that is lovable, look for the brand and the people that they really care meaningful of it. If you have it exit like LEAVABLE, make sure you can exit this. Because when you sell or grow into a new position, you don't want to be stuck with that. I want to be the coach, I want to be the designer, I want to be that. This becomes your pitfall. This becomes your prison. That's why all these people I'm consulting cannot sell, because they build a business and build something, they build so around them that their lifestyle is a golden cage they cannot exit. You know what? Their employees are exiting all the time. I'm going to another business. I will change. You know, I want to live in France now. I want to live in the UK. I want to live in Canada now. Oh, the beginning, the entrepreneurs think they are free, but the only free people are the employees, because they can nowadays, they can work wherever they want, who they want. And so, yeah. And so really like what I thought, and we are free depending if we build a freedom-based business or do we build a lifestyle business where we are stuck in it. It depends. Depends on what stage we are and where we're at. And so to me, it's really about implementing that mindset earlier, in being honest. And by that, focus on what you're best on. And maybe you just build an asset which is worth millions. But it doesn't have a functional sales, but you have an amazing team, and you say, you know what, if you want to change the chain of mobility, build a team and say, we start here, but we will later on work for the best companies you want. You can even do this together with your team. You can say like, let's join them, right? Like pirates. It's not, that's why then you don't sell your soul. You just sell your company. And it's a shared journey.
Right. So you might start the business knowing that your team would have aspirations to work for some bigger company, some other company, and you who might want to buy it. And so instead of sort of dreading that day, you're working towards getting everything ready for that day.
Yeah.
I notice that I feel myself just relax around that because it also feels very real. If you know that that's where it might be going, yeah, instead of, it's the old adage, if you can't fix it, feature it. You know,
Yes.
if you know that that's likely coming, that may be one of the things you actually feature and talk about when you hire people. It's like, this is probably where it's going. Right. So, okay, so we've got lovable, leavable, vibes. Let me just reflect what I heard. Tell me if I get it right or I miss something. So lovable meaning that it's a business not only that you love, but your employees love, your customers love, the community loves. They don't just love you, but they love, you know, what you're about. They love the mission and vision of it. There's good feelings around the business.
Yeah, it needs to be.
And then number two is that it's leavable. So this means that I guess there's the systems and the procedures, the checklists, the operating manuals, the roles are clearly defined, that all of that is really laid out, and that you have also given up the parts of it that you love the most that might keep you sort of trapped or stuck there, so that all the parts of the business can run without you. And then this valuable piece, this is so interesting. You're kind of blowing my mind here that part of what they may be buying is that it generates revenue. I mean, I guess that's if it's just losing money constantly, they may not be that interested, but it generates revenue, but also it could be your office space and location. It could be your team that you have. It might be some proprietary process you have, you figured out about how to do a certain thing that they'd be interested in taking or modeling or learning from. But it sounds like, now I'm curious, in this valuable piece, did you then start asking, like, wait a second, what do you really want? What are you buying? Like, what's in it for you? Or did you just have to observe and notice? How do you find out what's valuable for the people who might want to buy?
I found it out through the second interest person, because there were like 5 people interested and they were talking about different things. Because the first one, they were talking about our brands, and they wanted to know a lot about our clients, and also about how we've been like that. Because we've been known as an international brand strategy. They didn't care so much about design, about brand strategy and brand storytelling and all of that. And that we did this marketing. And I found out that the buyer lost the pitch. The buyer was like there was 11 entrepreneurs merged to one group. They got a private equity behind, and so they had this huge group, and they were like one of the best German agencies, all entrepreneurs brought together to a group. And they were like the best Google agencies and all that. They were like from 10 to 90 people, every company. So it was like about, in the end, it was like 700 people. And so it was a really big group already. And they said they were pitching for Lufthansa, the German airline. And they lost the pitch. And they said, you got to deliver the best performance marketing consultancies, all of that, but you have no clue about brand. And I make it a little bit more extreme, like what it was, but so they knew to be successful, they needed a story. They needed a press release saying, we are buying Germany's hot shot creative brand agency based in Hamburg, having 40 amazing creative brand strategists, creative storytellers, brand blah designers, and now we are complete. to be honest, they bought the message. They wanted just the message.
Right. So
but
also,
I didn't thought that was real true, but I figured I found out in the end.
right.
But I know they were caring about that. But others, they said like, oh, we are in the business of events, but we are only doing live public events live. We have no digital expertise. We want to bring your digital expertise into our event group.
Right.
Which is also really interesting, right?
Mm.
It's also really interesting for the team. Do we want to like go into the field of events and like that, or we want to continue in the marketing field, or do we? So we're a lot of different things, and there's people who they want to be saved. When you come, you can be our savior,
right?
And others say, oh no, you are the cherry on the cake.
Right.
Or you know what? You're just another nugget. You perfectly blend in.
Right.
We're just hungry.
It strikes me too that one of the assets in terms of valuable, and I've long said this, that the most valuable asset we have as a business is the customer list and our relationships with those customers. I suppose if they're buying a business because they want to see that business continue.
Can be.
Yeah.
Can be. The app business, they didn't care.
Right. Yes.
It was on their market. They didn't care. It was not as valuable as the other part.
Right.
And it's impossible to find 15 coders around as one team. 15 single coders is hard, but they were not aligned. So the culture, and that's where I come to sell your company, not your soul. Because especially, I would say in the marketing business, but I would say it's in most businesses, what do we build? We build trust. We build trust. Our team trusts us. We are trusting our team. Our landlord is trusting us. We are trusting them. Our suppliers, our clients, we build a relationship of trust.
Yeah.
And this is what we are selling.
Sure.
And you are selling the trust. Because with this, and there is an interesting thing when you hand over, everybody needs to sign that they move over. That's the hardest part in a business to sell. I'm not sure if it's international, but in Germany it is like that. Probably it's in whole Europe. So you think you go to a notary and it's done, right? Check, champagne, ba, ba, ba. No, then the hard part, when you go to the notary, it's public. This is the moment you cannot hide anymore.
Right.
And then there's a 6 weeks closing period. And in this weeks, if the clients say, oh, interesting, you didn't tell us that you're selling. We don't like the new owners. We are canceling all contract. If the employee says, yeah, you told us, but now you know what, we read about them. They are just bad. We are not signing the new contract. In this 6 weeks, the whole thing can blow off.
Yeah.
Blow off. And so this is when the people of trust, this is when trust is bare stripped naked. This is when you show how much trust you have. Because the buyer says, put that in the contract. I'm buying your business if 90% of your employees sign. I'm buying your business if 5%, if all the 5 key clients are signing. And if not, the price will go down, down, down to it's nothing. So, and they also, of course, try to make it hard. Even if they're interested, let's say they're interested in that, they can maybe put it on this to make it hard on you, because now it's all public. You are like selling is 1 year. If it's fast, it's 6 months, but usually it's a year. And it's you just like want to let's be it over. And in this moment, they try to bring the price down 20%, 40, 50. This is the moment when a profi seller meets the first-time seller.
Mm.
So they do everything. This is how they make money last minute. And so that's why I talk to the employees, but for a long time I didn't. I talked to the client, but for a long time I didn't. I didn't talk for about 10 months to them. 10 months under the radar, then I started talking. When the pre-contract was signed. But then I had the 6 weeks, and this was really, I couldn't sleep. Or another thing, I could sleep because I was so transparent. And so everybody know what we were going for.
Right. So if you're going to be selling your business, it's so important that all the key stakeholders in it are really well informed. Everything's been laid out and explained. I suppose also so you selling the business can see what you have going for you. I mean, because if you tell your employees, yeah, look, I'm thinking about selling it to this company, and they all say no, then at least you know that your employees wouldn't do it.
Yeah, basically you get a reflection of your trust.
Yeah.
And so like, what did you build? And also, what is in the end, because employees think in that moment, you are already their past. Because they will be in a new company, right?
Right.
Are they offering them? What is their perspective? How will it be better? And so this is the moment of LEAVABLE, where you really like feel that too. When you go to your team and you go to your clients, you need to take yourself out of equation. You say like, I will be the great transition guy. I'll make sure that you land safely.
Wow.
But you know what? This new partner will make sure that the clients will run more successful, more thing that you will do better than with me. Because it's not about me anymore.
Wow.
And so was really hard for me saying this. I want them to follow me, but at the same time making them not follow me. They were curious about the new one. So taking that, it was, oh my gosh, this is why I couldn't sleep. How to play that right and fair. And you know what? In the end, I will have all the cash in my pocket, not my team.
Right.
And I'm out if I can't make the contract right. No, they are in that. They will be in the new company. Of course, they can leave, but still, and the clients can also leave. But so there is this. LOVEABLE is also build a trustworthy business. And LEAVABLE don't make it about you. It starts with you. A great friend of mine, Stephen Levy, is a great leadership coach. He always says, it starts with you. It's not about you. It starts with you. It's not about you.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. It's like I have a friend who's coming back into town. She's been in Australia for a while and hosting a little party for her. And I'm very clear, though, she's the occasion for the party, but she's not the center of the party. The reason we have a party is so it builds more community here. I mean, she's kind of coming and going, but the reason we're doing it is she's not the center of it. She's just the spark that lit the thing, but we're trying to build an event that will do this community some good, even after she leaves again. So Wolfgang, thank you, first of all, so much for your time. And I'm curious, if people were wanting to work with you, I'd be curious, who's your ideal kind of client right now? Who do you most love to work with around these issues of selling the business? When is it too soon for somebody to work with you? I know a lot of people who I work with, they're kind of solopreneurs. Maybe they've got an employee or two. Do you help people figure out how to scale up, or is it once they've already scaled up, you help them sell? Maybe if you could just tell us a bit about your business and how you work.
I love the beginning. I love the end. This is what I love the most. And to get fast out of the messy middle. And I think they're all great clients in the sense of how I like to. I think in the beginning, let's say not beginning, but let's find out. Let's say you found out who your customer is. You found yourself. Let's say you make like 100,000 of turnover. You're something, because it's kind of the business is kind of like, you found your direction, and you already have something, and you feel the direction you want to go that path. I think this is when it starts to become interesting, because by that, it's more, this is more than one-on-one, some couple of sessions. It's more like figuring out what is the real asset you're building, and this is the true value. And for the true value, you have to make it most lovable. If your community is your true valuable asset, right? It needs to be really, you have to make a build that the community stays. And so you find a vision that is larger than yourself. If the vision is follow Wolfgang into the dark, then it's kind of like bar. It's like, if you're a night lover, you will say, we will find a company later on who love night lovers.
Yeah.
And then my purpose is to guide this group into their next stage until they outgrew Mare, or build a better company that I built the next stage that I built, because this is the entry stage. So, and I think this is great but this is the one-on-one sessions. You can book that on my website. It's called thesecondmountain.com, because we're all aiming for a second mountain where we're leaving our first and entering a second.
Beautiful.
And the middle ones, they are already a little bit advanced. I think they have already, they got a team, 5 to 10 people. I say between 10 and 50 people or 100. Once you have that, it's this messy middle. They are not there to scale. And when you don't know scaling, it has a lot to do with these 3 components. And also I want to be honest, if you want to build, what do you want to build? And it's a strategy thing. And there I look with these people and I know in your community, it's more I think the max would like 5 to 20 or so. I think they are great. They're great people when it's where do I go now? What is it? What is an asset I want to build? Why can I not leave? And why is LOVEABLE? And I think it will also really bounce back wonderful to the work you do, because then they know why they hold on.
Right.
And so I think there is a great way of bouncing back and forth. And for that, depending, there's is one-on-one coaching, sometimes it's group, but I think it's more going really booking a couple of sessions and really fixing the screws and fixing the mindset and saying what you really want to do. And then of course there's the exitpreneurs, they build it all. It basically is run without them, but they're not willing. And this is the people, they really want to exit. And with them, I work on the emotional side of selling, because the technical side, there's amazing M&A guys. I have M&A people who help you with selling the hard stuff. They find buyers for your assets, even if you have I'm ready to exit, right? But these M&A guys, they want to sell a business that is 5 million plus. Otherwise, because they get a 5% percentage,
right?
And if it's under 5 million, they don't work. And this is the hard thing. I saw, they looked at the numbers in Germany every year, 140,000 businesses nowadays become sellable, but go in the stage of it are not sellable in the sense they should stop, the exit entrepreneurs should stop working. And from this 140,000 business every year, 110,000 can rarely pay their loan. So they make 250,000 or less by the end of their life. And then they have 30,000 that make 500,000 or more. And I think that's so sad, And saying they build a lot. So 110,000 companies every year build a business around their lifestyle, and they miss the point to change. And you know what? If you cannot pay 50,000 euros for yourself, and then so the whole revenue is paying their salary with 50 or 60. Because they have the studio, they have the coaching business, they have the musical school, they have, and this is especially the small people, right? We are also talking about a lot. They build it about themselves. So they have great clients, but they didn't start finding a replacement. A replacer. And it takes a year. It takes 5 to 10 years to find someone who replaces you, because you're this superpreneur who plays the guitar while on the other side doing the marketing business, going to event, know the whole city, and doing in the nighttime doing the accounting stuff, right? Who can replace you? You build yourself you make yourself unreplaceable. This is unsellable business.
Yeah.
It's unleavable business.
Yeah.
And so I like people to rethink selling completely different. Selling exitpreneurs are thinking about the vision they have, about the drivers and energy they have, and think long-term, right? Because not everybody has to invest in stocks or houses and stuff. Invest in yourself, in your talent, build something where you can keep owning, build the next level, or a small business, right? Build that. I mean, Danny did this. I mean, he built this one thing, but he built this agency, he built this American corporate. And I wonder when is the day when Danny exits. He built a lot around himself, right? With Miracy, but he has the agency business. So he builds like small assets. He knows everybody needs marketing stuff. He builds partnerships with you and others. He makes sure, I swear to God, Danny is ready to leave. When he wants to disappear, he takes the Harry Potter carpet, but he built up something. He made it that the community is about commitment and contribution and all of that. He can leave his asset when he wants.
Yeah. Well, Wolfgang, thank you so much. So the secondmountain.com is Wolfgang's website. So yes, if you are compelled by what he's been saying and thinking about, boy, and maybe it's possible, I could imagine people listening to this thing, I've never really thought about building my business so that I could sell, or so that I could just be taking vacations all the time, or being that kind of role. If you've never thought about that, and you are now and you want help, please go check out Wolfgang's stuff. And hopefully everyone who's watching this can see why, there's these 5 fundamentals I talk about. You got the ethics, the niching, articulating your point of view, getting a solid business model, the hub marketing, building partnerships. Hopefully you can see why those 5 things are so foundational, especially here if you're thinking about selling a business. If you don't have those things figured out, there's almost nothing to sell. But if you do have them, there's the potential to sell. There's the potential to actually turn this business into something that could outlast you or become an asset, a resource for you in multiple ways. And of course, I know very little about this, but Wolfgang knows a lot. So hopefully you'll check out his stuff. Thank you all for those of you who came and tuned in. Thank you so much. And we'll leave it there. And Wolfgang, I'll share this publicly on YouTube so that more people
can put the links in there. And really, I love to have these chats with all the entrepreneurs, because we are building things so hard with so much passion. And let's find a good way, because we have so much to give. And so this is my time invested, and there's always a gold nugget when we talk. So
beautiful. Well, thank you so much, and we'll see you down the road, everybody. Take care.
All right, bye. All right, great day.